Sure, we've known each other since we were kids. We were like best friends or something. I guess people change.
I'm a hardened criminal. Now, how about a little trim?
Wow, that was feeble. What's your problem, Pete? Life's good. Aunt May's getting stronger every day. You finally got a girlfriend. Maybe not the one you figured on, but still. And hey, Harry's back.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Duel, back with another video. Today, we're talking about Spectacular Spider-Man episode 18, and this episode is titled First Steps. Directors Kevin Altieri and Victor Cook, and then it's written by Victor Cook, Greg Weisman, and Stan Lee. So, I don't know, I find it hard to believe this is from IMDb, so if that's true, then Stan Lee was still putting out bangers even when he was an old man, but I find that hard to believe, but, you know, let's just get right into it. So, right off the bat, it's like a videotape recording at the beginning of the episode. We're not really sure who's recording the video. The context is later revealed to be what we'll talk about here in a little bit. But basically, Peter's like recording, talking about who his best friend was, or used to be his best friend. And then after that, it cuts to Sandman invading a jewelry store. And of course, as you know, Spidey meets up with Sandman and they begin to fight. And then after they fight, he stops the Sandman, of course. Then we move to another scene where Gwen and MJ are talking about Liz and Peter being a couple and how it's like, when did that happen? Oh, that's kind of weird. And then as that's happening, Flash is like on the sidelines. He's clearly jealous of Peter and Liz being together. And Peter, he kind of like, it doesn't really seem like he's into it, but he is, but he isn't. Like it's almost like, hey, this pretty girl's paying attention to me, so I'm just gonna go along with it. It's basically the vibe that I'm getting here. So after that, Peter is like the whole time Eddie Brock is just like living rent free in his head. And then we move to where Harry comes back into the limelight. So Harry's been gone for a little bit since, you know, he took the green goo, became the Green Goblin, right? And so kind of caught Pete off guard. His Spidey sense went off. He like throws him to the ground. And he's like, oh man, he took some karate lessons. Wow, that's crazy. And Pete's like, yeah, well, sorry, you know, he's kind of on edge about everything. You know, he's thinking about Eddie Brock at this point in time. So Hammerhead and Sandman meet up, and they're talking shop after Sandman's failure to rob the jewelry store, where Spidey, of course, thwarted him. Let's see here. There's like a seminar at the high school with Captain Stacy, and then Harry kind of like warms up to Gwen a little bit and straight up just hits on her, like says he wants to go on a date with her. And you know, Pete's kind of like watching this, and he doesn't really seem to react, but he also is kind of like just like, hey, what are you doing, Gwen? What are you going out with Harry now? Like, come on now. Of course. What are you doing, Pete? You can't be doing that. You're dating somebody else, right? But you know, you've all been there, right? Not me. After that, let's see here. Where did we leave off at? So after the seminar, he gets close to Gwen. They start talking about, oh, we should go on a double date to Flash's party. He's having like a birthday party. And I think it's his 17th birthday. So yeah, they decide, oh yeah, let's go on a foursome is what Harry says, which, you know, terrible phrasing, but it is what it is. So they all agree to do that, and it's very awkward. Spidey's swinging around, and as he's swinging around, he's just like talking about his day and what's going on with him, and you know, things of that nature. And then as he's doing so, we see like glimpses of Eddie Brock or even Venom. And I really like this because like the director isn't like letting you in on what's going on here. Like, is Peter seeing Eddie, or like actually seeing Eddie, or is he going insane? Like, and they don't tell you that right away anyway. And I really like that. I like that the audience doesn't know directly. So it's like, is Pete losing his mind or is he not? We'll find out, right? So as we continue through, Sandman interrupts our beautiful reminiscing of Eddie to rob a sand museum. And so they start fighting around, and there's like a point where they're fighting, they're going back and forth, but then, you know, there's like a time, and I actually really like this episode. There's like a spot where like Pete's like, oh, you know, you're using all your powers for evil, and you could be doing so much good. And Sandman like kind of paused, and he's like, wait a minute, you really think I could just hang up the crime and really become a hero like you? And he's like, yeah, sure, man. He starts giving the great power speech, and then he's like, the great power, and then as soon as he does that, he's like, with great power comes great gullibility. He just smashes Pete right in his face, and I really like that. He basically tricks him. So with that, Sandman gets away, and we're now moving on to Flash's house. So we're at Flash's house, and I will say, you know, throughout the entirety of the episode, the videotape that's being recorded, and it's honestly kind of unsettling because you don't know who it's from. You know, initially when you're watching the episode, it kind of makes you think that maybe like somehow Eddie is filming it. And I think that actually is what is happening. But everybody seems to think it's like Flash's mom, like recording something for Flash's birthday party. But we'll get into that at the end of the episode. So the gang's at the Flash's house, and you know, Harry's like warming up to Gwen, and Pete's like getting all a little jealous here and there. It's like, whoa, buddy. What are you doing getting jealous? You can't be getting jealous. You're with somebody else. And that's you should be, right? And then as soon as that happens, he thinks he sees Eddie Brock. And then like a radio goes off saying, oh, Sandman, he's attacking some oil tanker. So you need to, you know, something's going on. But here's an oldie song that they're playing. And of course, Pete runs off the door to go stop Sandman. But something that I actually had to rewind, I did like a double take on, is that the radio host saying that on the station, and I like, this is a nice touch, is that it's actually Eddie Brock's voice. You have to really pay attention to it. I mean, I guess not really. His voice is pretty distinctive, but if you're not, like, you're just listening to the radio, right, you're not really going to notice that. So I think that was very interesting. I like how that little tidbit there. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I guess I missed this, but basically there was, like, a scene where Hammerhead is talking to Sandman, and you know, Sandman, he's just in it for the money. He wants a bigger payout, and Hammerhead's like, hey, if you want a bigger payout, you need to go stop that oil tanker. Stop it completely, and then we'll talk. So of course Spidey shows up, and then Sandman becomes massive. He's like this huge Sandman creature, and they're fighting back and forth for quite some time here, and Sandman's literally giving him the hands, and they're massive, and Pete just, he cannot hang. And I really like it because it reminds me of the Spider-Man 2 video game, which, you know, it's just, he's just this massive giant, or I guess I could remind you of Spider-Man 3, but he's just this massive sand monster. And I really like when Sandman gets like that because he just seems like this unstoppable beast, right? And he's just super cool. So anyway, really like the fight scenes between Spidey and Sandman here. He's fighting, he can't do it. As this fight's like happening, he sees Hammerhead sees Spider-Man, and he's like, okay, what's going on here? This isn't good. But then clearly realizes, like, oh, Sandman's basically ruining the entire operation, and then he just completely dips from the scene. I'm assuming he's talking to the Master Planner or something, or what was it? The big man? Tombstone? That's right. It's been a while. Sorry. So talking to Tombstone, like, yeah, get out of here. This whole thing is, you know, it's a wash. So let's just wrap it up. So while Spidey and Peter, or Sandman rather, are fighting, he spots Venom and he gets hit by Sandman. And while they're fighting, the oil tanker basically gets super banged up, which is why Hammerhead dips in the first place. And because of this, there's like people on the oil tanker that are now in danger. One of them gets like knocked out, and so Pete's like, hey, I gotta stop fighting you for a minute. I gotta go save these people. But as he's about to save these people, Sandman actually grabs the people and saves them. He puts them on like a, you know, safety boats and gets them back to safety. And Spider-Man, you know, to his dismay, is completely shocked by this, as you should be. And he's just in complete shock, like, oh man, you help those people? And Sandman was basically like, yeah, you know, I'm not in it to like hurt people. I just want money. Like, I'm just greedy. I'm not trying to be a killer. There was one scene that I skipped here in my notes, and that is there's like a scene where Sandman is like on the beach before he talks to Hammerhead, and he's talking to a little girl, and I guess some teens are making fun of this little girl because they're all on the beach just making like sand castles, and she doesn't make a very good one, and they make fun of her for it. So what does Sandman do? Well, he makes like this giant sand castle, and it makes it massive, and he scares off the teenagers. And then, of course, Hammerhead sees this, and he's like, oh, man, I knew you were going soft. And it's like, no, I wasn't going soft. I just like being mean to teens. Like, oh, yeah, that's my thing. So it really adds to Sandman's character here, something that we haven't seen throughout the series, at least not yet. So Sandman's not a total tool bag, right? He's not a killer. He's not trying to be evil. He's just trying to make some money, right? Everyone trying to get their bag. Totally makes sense. I can relate to that. Just how you go about it, right? After that, Sandman saves everybody. But then, like, the oil tanker explodes, and the heat from the explosion, I guess, it hardens him. Or in the episode, Peter says it glazed him. And basically, they make it seem like he died. He basically dies trying to save those people. And so to Spider-Man, Sandman is dead. He's gone. He's kaput. And then you get to see like a brief glimpse of Sandman like reappearing on the sideline, like with his grin on his face, and then he like fades off into the distance. And clearly indicating that Sandman will be back. He's just right now, he's faked his death to Spider-Man. And that's all that matters to him. And that's all that matters to us, the audience. And then after that, Spider-Man then travels to the cement area where he locked down the symbiote suit. And of course, this was Eddie Brock's plan all along. Surprise, surprise. Eddie Brock is very much alive, as we knew. He didn't die, but he's very much alive. Basically baited Peter out to get to that location so that he could get the symbiote. Because I guess when he got knocked out, he didn't know where the symbiote was. And I guess that makes sense. So he finds the symbiote. He breaks it out, and then like the episode literally kind of ends on just one of the videotape recordings of Eddie Brock just saying, "Yeah, if you find my bro Petey, let me know. Like I want to bump into him or something like that, because we want to catch up or something along those lines." I don't remember exactly what he said, but that's basically the episode. Yeah, overall, I really like this episode. I really like the push and pull from Eddie and Venom and like Peter basically freaking out, because like there's even one scene where he bumps into Harry and then he like sees the goblin, so it's like tripping him out. So the whole episode he's just like wigged out from two of his best friends are basically crazy wacko villains, and I really like that. It's like really messed with his head, and so it's messing with the audience's head with me, because I wasn't sure. Like, I mean, obviously I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure. Like, if I'm a kid, this is a kid's show, right? I don't really know what's going on, you know. So I think the setup there is really good. And we know, obviously, Eddie Brock is coming back. Venom's going to be coming back, which is probably one of Peter's biggest adversaries in this show. So to see him come back, I think pretty quickly, right, is good, and it's exciting. And the setup is there. The seed planting is there. Hammerhead and Tombstone are still running amok. We know Sandman's still alive. So, you know, there's more to come, obviously. But overall, yeah, I give this a solid 8 out of 10. The fight scenes are great. I really like the message that, you know, maybe some of these dudes are bad, but why they're being bad isn't always what you think. I like that. I really like that, where they give you like a little soft spot for some of the villains. So that's really nice to see. Overall, I think that that Spidey being a little selfish, because he's getting jealous about Gwen, and Gwen is not exactly, you know, she's not really going on a date with Harry to date Harry, right? She's kind of just, hey Pete, are you gonna address the elephant in the room, or are you just gonna leave it alone? And so she's kind of like being disgruntled, and it's unfair to her. She's being unfair to herself, and she's being unfair to Harry, but, you know, you can't blame her. She's just trying to get a rise out of Peter. I mean, I don't think she's doing it maliciously, but that's obviously what she's doing. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Really appreciate the support. And if you made it this far in the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Hey, Flash. Hope you don't mind me crashing your party. Truth is, I plan on crashing a lot of parties this year. So if you run into my bro, Pete, tell him we'll see him soon.